Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a historic two-day visit to Poland, which will be followed by an important day-long visit to Ukraine. This marks the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Poland in 45 years, with the last visit made by Prime Minister Morarji Desai back in 1979. Prime Minister Modi will be the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Ukraine since diplomatic ties were established between the two countries in 1992. Now, Prime Minister Modi's visit to Poland is particularly significant as it coincides with the 70th anniversary of India's diplomatic relations with that country. According to the Ministry of External Affairs, there are an estimated 25,000 Indians living in Poland, including around 5,000 students. Ahead of his visit, Mr. Modi issued a departure statement saying, and I quote, "My visit to Poland comes as we mark 70 years of our diplomatic relations. Poland is a key economic partner in Central Europe. Our mutual commitment to democracy and pluralism further reinforces our relationship. I look forward to meeting my friend Prime Minister Donald Tusk and President Andrzej Duda to further advance our partnership." Among his engagements in Warsaw, the Prime Minister will address members of the Indian diaspora in that country. Before leaving, the Prime Minister also talked about the Ukraine visit, saying, "From Poland, I will be visiting Ukraine at the invitation of President Volodymyr Zelensky. This is the first ever visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Ukraine. I look forward to the opportunity to build upon earlier conversations with President Zelensky on strengthening bilateral cooperation and shared perspectives on a peaceful resolution of the ongoing Ukraine conflict. As a friend and partner, we hope for an early return of peace and stability in the region." Prime Minister Modi is in Warsaw, where he will visit memorials that commemorate the special episodes of Jamnagar and Kolhapur in the shared history of India and Poland. India and Poland are not just united in their ideological stance against colonialism, imperialism and racism, but also share deep historical ties. The long-standing friendly relations between the two nations date back to the 1940s. The Prime Minister's visit to war memorials in Warsaw is being seen as a reflection of these strong historical ties. The Prime Minister is going to honor the bravery of the Indian soldiers who fought alongside Polish and Allied forces in the Battle of Monte Cassino during World War II. Let's take a closer look at the historic Battle of Monte Cassino, which brought the two nations together. During the Second World War, the Maharajas of Jamnagar and Kolhapur provided shelter to thousands of Polish refugees. This battle was a crucial part of the Allied campaign leading to the liberation of Rome. In the 1940s, Jam Sahib Digvijay of Navanagar, now known as Jamnagar in Gujarat, accepted over 1,000 Polish refugees, mostly children, escaping the war. Jam Sahib, who is referred to as the Good Maharaja in Poland, had provided refuge in his kingdom at a place called Balachadi. Similarly, a Polish camp was set up in Valivad in the Kolhapur Presidency, now in Maharashtra, ruled by Bhosle Chhatrapati during World War II. The memorial pillar located in Valivad, in memory of over 5,000 Polish refugees who escaped to India during World War II. This is where they took shelter. When Poland was caught between Adolf Hitler's Germany and Joseph Stalin's Russia during the Second World War, a stream of refugees had made their way to Valivad village in the Kolhapur district. Today, Poland is an important fulcrum of Indian trade and investment in the Central European region. It is currently the sixth largest economy in the European Union and will hold the next presidency of the Council of the European Union. The India-Poland bilateral trade is currently pegged at $6 billion, which makes Poland India's largest trading partner in Central and Eastern Europe. Indian investments in Poland are estimated at around $3 billion, while Polish investments in India are around $1 billion. Marking the 70th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations with Poland, the visit seeks to increase Indian presence in a key European economy that is positioning itself as a low-cost manufacturing and logistics hub on the continent. The talks are expected to include greater defense cooperation and bilateral business ties in information technology, pharmaceutical and automobile manufacturing. Poland is already home to nearshoring operations of many Indian information technology majors such as Tata Consultancy Services, HCL, Tech, Infosys and Wipro. Manufacturing units of pharmaceutical company embarks, Berger Paints and automotive and equipment manufacturer Escorts, amongst others, have also emerged in the past decade. Officials say Poland is keen to attract more Indian investments and has pitched itself as a technology-driven and cost-effective manufacturing destination in Europe. In February this year, Indian telecommunications gear maker HFCL announced plans to set up a fiber optic cable plant in Poland. Foreign direct investment from Poland is the 34th largest amongst nations at $712 million. Nearly 30 Polish companies have a business presence in India. India has a positive trade balance with Poland, bolstered by a diversified export basket. The number of Indian nationals in Poland has increased to 25,000. This includes 5,000 students, many of whom chose to study in Poland after being evacuated from neighboring Ukraine in 2022 after the war erupted. In fact, India's Ministry of External Affairs, on the eve of Prime Minister Modi's departure, referred to the presence of a large Indian community in Poland, saying, and I quote, "You may recall that the government and people of Poland had offered valuable assistance during Operation Ganga for the evacuation of Indian students from Ukraine. More than 4,000 Indian students were evacuated via Poland in 2022. Poland has also long been a center of Indology, with Sanskrit being studied at the Jagiellonian University in Krakow since 1860. During this visit, Prime Minister Modi is scheduled to engage with scholars and students, further promoting cultural and academic exchanges between India and Poland. The University of Warsaw, home to the largest Indology department in Central Europe, continues to be a hub for Indian studies. This visit is significant for multiple reasons, not just historical, cultural and economic ties. It represents India's deepening engagement with Eastern Europe, a region that has become increasingly important due to the Ukraine crisis. Poland's geographical proximity to Ukraine and its role in supporting Ukrainian refugees and military efforts have made it a crucial ally for many Western nations. By visiting Poland, Prime Minister Modi is acknowledging the country's strategic importance and seeking to bolster bilateral ties. The visit is also a clear indication of India's intent to diversify its relationships in Europe. While traditionally focused on Western European nations like France and Germany, India is now looking eastward, recognizing the growing influence of countries like Poland in European politics. This shift is part of a broader strategy to enhance India's presence in the European Union, particularly in areas like defense cooperation, trade and energy security. India and Poland have a long history of cooperation, particularly in the defense sector. Poland has been a key supplier of military equipment to India, and both countries have collaborated on various defense technology projects. Mr. Modi's visit is expected to further deepen this cooperation, with discussions likely to focus on expanding joint ventures, technology transfers and enhancing defense capabilities. With the conflict in Ukraine disrupting energy supplies across Europe, India and Poland are likely to explore ways to enhance cooperation in this sector, particularly in the development of renewable energy sources and the diversification of energy imports. Also, let's not forget, India's approach to the Ukraine conflict has been characterized by a delicate balancing act. While maintaining its historical ties with Russia, India has also engaged with Ukraine and Western nations and repeatedly called for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. In this context, Poland's role as a key NATO member and a frontline state makes it an essential partner for India as well. This visit to Poland is an opportunity to reinforce India's position on the Ukraine conflict. By engaging with the Polish leadership, Prime Minister Modi is likely to emphasize the need for continued dialogue and diplomacy, aligning with India's broader foreign policy objectives. This visit also serves as a platform for India to express its support for Poland's efforts in managing the humanitarian crisis resulting from the conflict. At a press conference, the Ministry of External Affairs said, and I quote, "Poland has emerged as a key partner for India in Europe, particularly in the context of the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Prime Minister Modi's visit to Poland will focus on strengthening our bilateral ties with a particular emphasis on defense cooperation, trade and energy security. India recognizes the critical role that Poland has played in supporting Ukraine during the conflict. We are committed to working with Poland to ensure that the humanitarian needs of the Ukrainian people are met.